Hi ladies, this is 2017 Staycation at Nanny's house. We are going to paint a really cool vase with flowers in it. You can do something different. You don't have to use the same colors. You can think of the colors in your home and match those up, or if you have a specific place in your house. Another thing is I am just going to be doing it on a small canvas, so it's easy for me to paint and show you. You can choose a 2 canvas option. You can do them this way too. You can do 4 canvases, and when you hang them it would be super large. And then there's a 3 canvas option where you do 2 on top and 1 on the bottom with the vase. So think about that and we'll get your canvases out. When I get started, I think about first what colors I want for my background and my vase. So I put the light blues for the background, and my vase is going to have some navy and white. So I put those on my plate, and then when you're almost done with that, we'll be thinking about the flower colors. So be thinking about that while we get ready. Another thing is these canvases have sides, so make sure and paint those sides so when you hang that up, it looks finished on the edges. If you don't paint the sides, it kind of looks a little unfinished. I'm going to go into my background. I'm not going to paint where my vase is going to be, and this painting is actually quite easy to paint without drawing, so we're not going to draw. It's kind of good to be able to skip that step sometimes. But I am going to paint my background where I'm going to paint it in a little bit, maybe a little bit where the flowers and just the flowers, not the vase, just so I can get a little bit of the background color in it, but I'm not going to paint completely where the flowers are going to be. My vase is going to be right there, so I'm going to kind of paint that in a little bit where that's going to be. And then I kind of just freely go ahead and grab white to mix in with it, and that just kind of gives it a artisty feel. And my flowers are going to kind of come all up in here, but I'm still going to put some blue on my edges, adding white in. The white mixes with it and makes nice tints of blue. I'm going to put some on my side. If you want to add in a little bit of darks, maybe you feel like you need a little dark, I'm going to get a little bit of blue from what I'm going to put in my vase, and maybe I want to put a little darks in there. And actually the bottom of my vase can go all the way to the bottom if you'd like. You don't have to put blue on the bottom. And the less you worry about it, the better. Don't get all stressed out. It looks really good if you just kind of don't concentrate on it too much. And your flowers will go over top, so it's not that big of a deal. Your shape even. There we go. Now I'm gonna do, and that's how that's looking. Now I'm gonna do my flowers in my vase, and if you ever need to wash any paint off of your brush, make sure you dry it completely, because this is acrylic paint and it is not watercolor. You don't want then paint on your canvas. So if you're usually doing watercolor and not acrylic, that's the big difference. You have to dry your brush completely on your paper towel. So I'm going to go, and I have some black and dark blue. So I'm going to mix those a little because I want my vase to have navy stripes, but I definitely want it to be a dark navy. So I'm going to add a little black into my blue to ensure that it is a very navy blue. And I'm going to come down along here, and know that your flowers are going to overlap and the paint will go right over top, so no worries. And this is a little bit too big for my stripes, so I'm going to change the size of my brush. I've been using this big brush just so I get the background in quickly, but my stripes on my vase are going to be even a little bit bigger than this, so I'm going to switch to this size brush, if you can find it, if you want the same size stripes. And I'm going to come in with a nice stripe up here. And I am going to specifically be thinking about the distance between each stripe. I'm gonna want it to be the same as the stripe. I'm a little off here, but that's okay. There we go. And if it's too dark or too light, or you can always paint over it. All right. Now we're going to go into the flowers. I'm going to add some colors to my palette, and when you get your paints, just don't put a ton on your plate. As you can see, I probably put a little too much blue on my plate, but I have enough water to white to finish the flowers. I am going to choose, this is a color that I'm gonna use with my flower. I can mix it with white. I think I'm also going to want to mix it with some yellows and do some smaller flowers in there. I'm gonna put this orangish color. I need a lighter color, and I can always add white in, but I feel like I would like to use a little bit of this peach. And remember, you can always paint over top, so if you don't love it, no worries. And then I think I'm gonna do a little bit of this really deep coral. Do some darker ones. There we go. All right. Now this is a no stress. I'm gonna go back to my bigger brush, and I'm gonna paint the big shapes of my flowers. And then I'm gonna paint over top of those shapes with different colors in just a minute. So I'm gonna dry my brush completely. I do not want any water in my brush. And I'm gonna start off with my pink. I'm not the type of person that likes to just have one color on my brush, so I put a little bit of orange on the edge, maybe a little white on the other edge. And then I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do the outside ones first in hopes that this blue line dries, and then when I get there, hopefully it will go over without mixing. So I'm gonna do this flower here. And maybe I'll start going into some coral. See that dark blue mixed in, but it's not that big of a deal. Go over your edge a little bit. And I wouldn't have them all the same size. I would vary your size quite a bit. In between your flowers, we're going to put some foliage, so you don't have to have everything filled. See, that didn't mix as much. The paint does end up drying pretty quickly. So, and then I'm going to bring that flower around the edge. Make this one a little bit bigger. I think that's a good start. We're gonna have a lot of greenery, so I'm not gonna go too crazy. You want it a little lighter? Add a little white. You want a little more coral? Add a little more coral on top. But multiple colors showing is a good thing. And if you get a little bit of your blue in there, your navy, it makes it even better. Orange. Okay, so right now, this is how we are looking, and we're gonna start layering with a smaller brush on top. I think we should go into our greenery and those types of things before we finish our flowers. Let's give it a little chance to dry a little bit. And I think we need a little bit more yellow. The yellow that I put on here wasn't quite yellow enough. So I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow. I'm gonna get some greens and yellows on my palette. This yellow's looking kind of nice. Remember, don't put a ton. If we have leftover canvases and paints afterward, we will give the little kids a chance to paint a little bit, but a little bit of paint goes a long way. Unless you're doing like a 4-panel, then I'm gonna do a little bit of a brighter yellow. With that one. See, my greens look pretty good. I can mix my blues into my greens too. Alright, I'm gonna use a different brush now for my leaves. I'll rinse this one off. As you can see, I have a brush that's just sitting out here. We really don't want any brushes just sitting out. So if you could please put any brush that has paint on it into the water so it doesn't dry. And I think that's actually a little too big. So I'm going to do some green foliage. And I'm going to do green, but I'm going to mix it just with just a tidge of my blue and bluish black, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to put one little branch going through. It looks like I need a little bit of white mixed in, so it will show kind of dark right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves. And the leaves are just little football shapes coming out of the sides. And this painting I'm doing, I'm kind of keeping it kind of really like the shapes are exactly the same, kind of like these stripes are exactly the same. I'm going to do the same thing on my leaves just to keep it kind of symmetrical and even. That's just kind of the feel of this painting. And then this last leaf can come straight down. I'm going to have to go over the edge. I'm going to put a little bit of this. Actually, I'm going to use this. A little bit of this light color. I'm going to put a little bit of greens throughout, but not a ton, maybe a couple little leaves here. Put one in here. And wherever you think you need one, but not too much, because we are actually going to put some, I'm going to use this brush this time. We're actually going to put some yellows, little yellow flowers dancing around in here. And I mix 2 yellows together. That's just what I like to do. I think these color combinations are really nice. Just making little circles. I'm actually going to also add some of the yellow into my flowers while I'm painting it with the yellow already. And I'm just doing that by making a circle or even a spiral in there, circles or spirals. Put some on the sides. Forget about your sides. One up here. wherever you think yours is needing it. Alright, I think I'm going to add a little bit of the darks in to the little flowers. I'm going to use some of that navy, just get a little bit more of that navy in there. Maybe just do some little... If you feel like it's getting a little gummy, if the paint starts kind of drying up, just go put a little bit of water in it, not a lot. And remember, a little bit of overlapping is okay. You can overlap a little bit. Let's put more blue in that. Use some light blue. Don't be scared to mix some of your colors. I saw that this was kind of dry. My dark blue, so I'm just adding a little bit of light blue into it. And just keeping your size differentiation in. Some bigger dots, some smaller. It's looking nice. Alright, I'm going to put a couple of my real dark coral that I already have on here. Some real dark coral dots with a small brush onto some of my little yellow flowers that I added. Try to have some of those dots bigger and some smaller. This will make it seem more organic. And then with a bigger brush, I think I'm going to start going in. I like using a huge brush, I don't know why. It's just what I'm used to. So I think I'm going to use this size brush to finish my flowers. And then we'll come back in with a little bit of details afterward. The one thing I'm saying that I don't love, I don't love these outside lines of my vase being so thick, but I'm going to live with it. I think it'll be okay. If I want to go back into it with some white at the end, I can. I'm going to go in first with some white. And I'm just going to kind of add some white in circles. And these are not perfect circles. These are just like, you know, just taking your brush and kind of twisting it in your hand. And kind of keeping it in a circle. But not a perfect circle. And the white kind of mixes with some colors, and that's fine. And I kind of want those leaves to stay on top, so I'm just going to stay behind. So this is a really strong white. You should have some white left over. I'm not messing the edges. I am going around the edges. They're coming to the surface. It looks like I need some reds with a smaller brush, so I'm gonna wash one of my brushes. I feel like I need to darken some of mine. So, and in my regular style, I'm not gonna only do red. I am gonna grab a couple other colors on mine, and I'm just gonna kind of circle around. This is a thinner line, so you don't have to push on your brush really hard. To make a thin line, you kind of stay up on the tip of your brush. And then because now all of a sudden mine have started kind of all looking similar color, I'm going to just choose a few to add a little extra yellows into. I think this one looks like a good candidate because you don't want them all to look the same. Kind of want them all to be individualized. And then I might mix just a teeny bit of purple with my red and my blue, and maybe make so I don't feel scared to mix on your plate. Just to give just a couple of my flowers a little different look. Look at it real quick. It seems like this one. A little bit of purple. And I just mixed red and blue. It's starting to look kind of how I want it to. Maybe I'll add a little orange and call it good. We're gonna add the dark navy blue in the middle of the flowers, and then we're gonna be done. Maybe a little bit of white at the end if we need it. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little orange, and I think I'm gonna mix it with white to cool, kind of tint it a little bit, make it a little lighter. I kind of look at my stuff before I get started on it. I'm going to add a little bit of orange to some of those flowers on the outside. It's because it seems like it needs it. Just by looking at it. I think I need a little orange on my edges too, probably because my edges are too thick and I don't like how thick they are. So I'm going to just come down on the sides of those a little, just to improve that. It does improve it. Okay, last but not least, we're going to add the dark navy blue in, and if you don't have enough navy blue, if it's too black, let me know. I'll give you some more blue. I'm thinking this looks right. If not, I'll get some more blue. And in the middle of each, you don't want them to be perfect circles. You just kind of want them to be kind of messy circles. And the twist is really good for that. I'm going to get a little bit more blue. There's some kid paint right here. I could use to mix them with my black. Remember we mixed blue and black to get our navy. And I'm just going to go into each one. I want them each to kind of be different. And then I just feel like I need a little bit of the blue every once in a while. Just going through to break up some of those flowers because mine kind of look like they're sticking together. So if you want to pull a little bit of that blue through, you could do that. It kind of changes it quite a bit. Thank you. The last thing you could do is add a little bit of red or white if you think it's not as complicated looking as you'd like it to. Always like a last little bit of white with a tiny brush. Always kind of looks nice. So I'm just going to kind of go around. And remember those kind of those shaky lines. What we want. I think it's looking good. Other thing is maybe if your greenery isn't looking as good as you want it to, maybe add a little highlight to it. It kind of adds a little bit, maybe a little white to your plants and your little flowers. I think I'm gonna call it good. I'm gonna add just a couple little dots maybe in the middle of my black. Cause I think we gotta get this show on the road. I think everyone's waiting on me. Hope you guys had fun. Happy, happy, happy staycation 2017. Bye.